Divine greetings, entities, energies, lovelies, bodies of light, the seekers and sojourners of truth. That is the people of the savants. Savants being those scholars after truth, the sojourners of truth. This is who I call the savants. Look it up, you'll see different definitions, but savants, the divine energy savants, and that has been what has been manifested. That's why I'm bringing it to light now. So either way, I greet you in the love that lights the truth from my heart to yours. I am celestial earth in this divine energy essence of it all, always and will forever be reporting to you live and nowhere other than the fifth dimension, 5D, the place to be. At least that's what it is for me. I don't know about you, but I see you, you see me. That means we here together in 5D. You know what I mean? So with that said, happy new moon in Taurus. We are in the season of the bull, yes. And it's not to be confused with being stubborn. That is the shadows of Taurus, right? We are looking for stability. Fixed signs mean stability. And speaking of fixed signs, this new moon, it's not only just a regular moon, it's a super moon. And for those who don't know, the super moon is when the moon is, closer to the earth, super moon. And it's more potent. It brings a potency of, let's just say, full moon times 10, right? Not as powerful as an eclipse, but it's also a more intense moon. We'll feel it a little bit more intensely because it's that close to our earthly bodies, to the material realm, right? So as usual, I bring you the news to infuse with, if you so choose to infuse with that light on the light grid. If not, you can refuse, but be prepared. Be prepared to be fried on the grid. And so we don't want to be fried on the grid. So I'm speaking to those who are choosing to say yes to the universe, so the universe can say yes to you, especially during a new moon, because the new moon is manifestations, right? For those of you who do the work, the soul work with me, when we do the full moon, it's full moon transmutation, because we're transmuting what's coming up, what the full moon brings up, as it operates more like a cosmic light. But we're not talking about the full moon. We're talking about a new moon, which is not transmuting, but after the transmutation, which is 2 weeks after a full moon, we are in the new moon. So we've been going through the waning phase, and we are now, after the new moon, about to wax up again to the full moon. I call it waxing up. So with that, we're looking at what are we manifesting. Like the question, the theme of what I'm seeing is, as you hear that loud noise, like, what are we doing? That's what I'm hearing. What are we doing? Because what we do is how we express ourselves, is how we partake in the creative process. Ergo, it's how we're manifesting. So the question is, what are we manifesting? And I'm not seeing it as I'm asking in a way of, what do we want that we desire, right? The good aspect of manifesting, which people tend to look at the most, of what are we manifesting? What are we bringing forth? Which there is something coming forth in the collective, in our individual minds, and also in the collective. There's definitely something coming forth for the 5D collective as we're in this split right now. We're in this high frequency energetic split that's happening. So this new moon manifestation, this new moon manifestation is bringing to us a new wave of energy that is really to be a true wave of energy, to have us align with the true timeline, to help us to manifest and bring in what we need for the 5D shift, for the grid, what we're activating on the light grid. So it's really giving us a chance to assess. I call this moon like an assessment, right? Manifestation assessment, so that we can assess. It's bringing us the opportunity to have an assessment of what is happening. What are we manifesting? And take a really keen look at what we have been doing in our expressions, in our being, at a subconscious, unconscious level. We need to go that deep. This is why the full moon is important too, because it invites you into that subconscious. So whatever has been revealed to you, especially within the waning phase before this new moon, think on those things. Look at it thoroughly, like with a microscope, with a magnifying glass. We need to really go in on that thing and magnify it, so we can really see what it is that we have been doing, because that is showing us in our life what we have been manifesting, so that we can know what to truly release, so that we can open the avenues and the doorways to truly manifest what we desire in the bright light, in the light of everything. But first, we have to look at what we have been already manifesting, what has already been in play, what has already been blooming on the trees that we have planted in life, whether good, bad, or ugly, right? But mainly I'm speaking obviously to the ugly, to the bad, to the ugly. What is that thing that we have been planting that has been blooming and blossoming that we need to now see, so we can acknowledge it, so we can truly identify it and have true accountability, and do maybe even a practical application, practice something that shows great responsibility, able to respond to this acknowledgement of what is actually happening. And in this practical application, this is how you're going to break free, break through it, break the blockage in the energetic field, in the energetic realm, and open those corridors for what you truly want to manifest in that new timeline. That's what this full moon, new moon, is really manifesting, right? And I'm seeing this also with the Grand Cross. I really got to talk about this Grand Cross. So this is a new moon, super new moon. And the planets that I want to talk about, the placements that I want to talk about, are at a fixed Grand Cross. Look in your natal chart. You may want to check your natal chart and look where you may possibly have a fixed Grand Cross. Wherever those placements are for you, if they are in the fixed Grand Cross, meaning those signs that are fixed. There are 4 houses that are fixed. Houses or signs, whatever you call them. Whatever placements you have there, that is greatly being activated right now with this new moon. Okay? So remember that the new moon is when I call it kiss and make up. So it is when the planets, the luminaries, which is the sun and the moon, come together and they come into alignment, right? In the full moon, they're opposition. New moon, they come together. That's a dance they do. They come apart, they get back together. That's their little tango in the cosmic atmosphere that brings to us what we need. In opposition, it shows us what we need to harmonize and balance, and then we bring it together if we are truly paying attention. Right, so it brings the inner world and the outer world together. The moon represents your inner world, the emotions and things like that. The sun, the moon, represents inner world always, whether it's new moon, full moon, whatever the phase of it is. Your moon sign is your innermost world, your emotions. The sun represents our outer world and everything that is expressed in the outer world, right? It is our will to do. It is what we do. Right? In speaking, metaphysically speaking, the sun and the moon represents will and understanding. Will is more the masculine energy body, which is the sun, the will to do, action, creative activity. And the moon is the more feminine qualities, the feminine energy. All right? The moon metaphysically represents understanding, which is that feminine energy, which is the feelings, the emotions, which is subconscious mind. Right? So in our conscious mind, this dance is a dance between our conscious phase of mind and our subconscious, which is the will and the understanding, the ego, the intuition, the masculine, the feminine, the creative, the receptive. Okay? All of that is synonymous. So when we're looking at the luminaries, that's what we're lighting up. That's what we're working with. And it depends on how you look at it and what aspect you're working with in yourself. But either way, this is all what it means, right? Will and understanding, inner world, outer world. And it's coming together. So it's bringing everything from the inner world to the outer world, right? So that's where they meet in Taurus right now. So it came from the opposition 6 months ago. That's why you may hear some astrologers say, look at, it's reflecting, right? Look at where we were 6 months ago. So it's bringing the opposition of Taurus is Scorpio. So where we were 6 months ago, that moon is now coming met full circle, new moon in Taurus, right? So the opposite axis is Scorpio. And this is highlighting, so it's reflective of whatever has been going on 6 months ago. Bring it to meet up here. full new moon. Why do I keep saying full? But the new moon with the sun. So they're making up. This is what I call kiss and make up. So what's coming into alignment? What have you been manifesting? What have you been doing over the past 6 months? Whatever it is that you have been doing, living, being in, breathing in, that you have made a part of you in your existence, this is what you have been manifesting. And so now we're taking an assessment and we're looking at that. And this grand fixed cross is really helping us to do so. So these are the bodies that we want to look at. All right, so let me see. I did have a little download I can probably share. This is a cross. Okay. Our inner world has come to harmonize with our outer world about what we are manifesting in our material world, in the earth physically, with regards to how we hold value in our relationships and our finances. Okay, that's a reminder to remind us this is what Taurus is about, right? Taurus is an earth sign. It's about the material world, very physical. If you look at our 5D calendar, that month is also called Jeb, which Jeb is the earth, for those who understand the Kemetic gods. All right, so everything that we are materially, physically attached to in the earth, which is relationships and finances, the two main physical components that drives our motives for what we do and how we exist in our lives. And this new moon brings an opportunity of assessment for us to realize our responsibility in what and how we are truly manifesting, and hold true accountability before we can access desired manifestations in our new true timelines. So this is why I said this is an assessment time. It's really having us to feel this, especially while the energies are shifting. It's given us the opportunity to say, hey, really look at this, assess what is happening, right? This new moon requires self-determination to be self-disciplined, a self-discipleship within the soul that activates and adheres to the Christ consciousness within and up, meaning in and up. We are to go deep within the subconscious of our mind and then go up into our higher self of the superconscious mind. This is how it was, presented to me as I was, seeing what this is really all about. And this assessment is giving us a time to look at what needs to be looked at and how we have been manifesting in the earth, in the world, Taurus being the earth, right? With those two main components, relationships and finances, because that's what motivates us in our world. Any way you cookie cut it, it boils down to those two things. So we're to be looking at how to change our values. So this is also echoing, this grand cross is also echoing where our North Node, South Node was in Taurus, and I mentioned this before, in Taurus and Scorpio, that is asking us, and now it's like sounding like a bullhorn very loudly through this new moon manifestation, with these timelines shifting and these frequencies accelerating. It is really impressing upon us to go in and change these perspectives. It is asking for radical change. That means go deep into your subconscious, unconscious mind. That's why it's emphasizing to really go deep and look at what we have been manifesting. It is not okay. Things that we think are okay because it's okay, I've been doing it all along. No. The energies are saying, go back and look at what you have been doing. It is not okay, and it is blocking you from your desired manifestations that your higher self is trying to get you to on your true timeline for this new earth, for this split that is taking place, right? We don't have time to negotiate with ourselves anymore. The energies are saying this is non-negotiable. And this is why some of us are feeling, in the intensity of these energies, we're feeling like squeezed, and we're feeling our backs against the wall, because it's really putting the pressure on us to do what needs to be done, to have that assessment in your soul and go deep within and hold accountability for how you show up. How have you showed up in whatever the situation may be, so that you can hold accountability, no matter how big it is. If it's something that seems magnified, take the magnifying glass off of it just so you can see it in you, and ask yourself, where do I do this? So wherever you're feeling something that you may be on the receiving end of something, ask yourself where you may be on the giving end of that very thing. Look at where you may have given it out in some way, shape, or form. I guarantee you, this is the boomerang effect. This is the law of attraction. What you put out there is going to boomerang and come back to you. So whatever you're receiving, believe me, it is something you are also giving. You are emitting through your subconscious, unconscious mind. So you're not aware of how you do it. This is why we have to go that deep in this assessment. So it's really taken us to look at that. How have we been doing things in the world? And to highlight something for us, just to throw a hint out there, it has to do with how we have been giving in a way through our, okay, I'm trying to make it really general. I'm doing my best, not trying, because tryers are for liars, and ain't no lying over here. All right, I want to convey this in a way where it's general, so people don't miss it because they're being real specific. It is something that we are doing unconsciously. So basically it's unconscious behavior that is coming from subconscious hurts or subconscious unhealed wounds in the subconscious, which means you're not consciously aware of it. But because you are holding that vibration in the unconscious realm, it's held on in the energy realm, right, subconsciously, and then therefore you act out in an unconscious way. You have unconscious behavior, so you're not aware that you're doing something like this to someone, right? So that's how you have to dig that deep to find it, to look where you may possibly have some hurt, and you too may have blocked some things or repelled some things. Your energy has blocked someone or others, right? And see that noise that's going, it's like I'm hearing that there's noise in our mind that wants to cover over this truth that I'm saying, and this truth that we must be seeking. And I'm saying that because that's what it sounds like in our mind while we're thinking on these things. Oh, believe me, you're going to have other loud thoughts that want to make noise in your mind, that it's like banging pots, like the ego that has been protecting you through its egoic narrative wants to bang pots, and the ego's like la la la, while we need to go within and really look at it. So we really have to listen keenly, move that noise out the way. So what if it's getting loud? Just think of it as a loud, obnoxious noise that means nothing, right? That's the misappropriated ego, and we need to bypass that ego. Instead of spiritually bypass that ego that wants to hold on to a narrative, a reason, an excuse, a justification. So if those thoughts sound like, yeah, but I did this because of that, that's the ego. I don't care if it's right, it's the ego. Yeah, I did this because da-da-da. That's justifying, that's having an excuse, that's overly reasoning in the ego. And so I share that so that we can learn how to like really pull back that magnifying glass, because that's the ego trying to magnify that loud noise, that chatter in the soul. And we have to pull that back and say, no, I need to look at this little dot right here, right? I need to see what this is within me. Where am I doing this in any small, menial way? Like what way that I am putting this out as well? Oh, because I'm doing this from a place of hurt. I had some kind of hurt, so I told myself I got to protect myself in this way, or my energy did it, and I set it out in the energy field. So this is how it's operating, right? So I say that so that we take the detailed time to look at this, right? Don't get overly detailed either, because then now you get dragged into South Node in Virgo, overly detailizing things and not allowing yourself to see the expanded view in North Node in Pisces. It not allowing you to look in the spirit, under the umbrella of spirit, which covers a broad range of things, right? Faithfully, I'm not confusing you here, right? So this new moon is really asking us, it's a new moon of assessment. What are we manifesting? So I can know what I need to manifest. Now the cross, the grand cross, this grand cross is like a crossroads at the grand fixed cross of the fixed houses, that is really now calling for us to go deep into the shadows with Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio. to manifest a change of perspectives, of values in the physical, spiritual, right? Spiritual as emotional, in the physical, spiritual earth, with Uranus bringing that change and the sun and moon harmonizing our will and understanding in Taurus. See, I'm kind of breaking down the cross right now, right? So I just showed you Scorpio and Taurus, right? Now, it's inviting us to go deep to have these changes, to go deep in Taurus, to have these, to go deep in Scorpio, to have these changes in the earth in Taurus by bringing the true revelation to transform the mind and empower humanity of the new age, which is Pluto in Aquarius, right? Because we're in the age of Aquarian, and Pluto is that transformed revelation. In order to take the initiative, to take the creative right force of action that fires up and fuels the momentum of this movement, Mars in Leo. That Mars in Leo is the firing up, take initiative, take action. So what I just broke down to you is how that Grand Cross is relating, what it wants us to do, right? So really, Black Moon Lilith is playing a key point here because that's who's in Scorpio. So before I go into that, for those who don't know, the Grand Cross are the four signs that are fixed. This is the Grand Fixed Cross, means all those signs are fixed. Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius are all fixed signs, right? And they're like this. So Taurus and Scorpio are on their own axis, right? And Leo and Aquarius is on another axis, meaning they are on opposite ends. So we have this cross, right? And when it's basically a square. These are the squared signs. So there's tension there. There's tension building up. There's opposition. The ones that are on opposite ends are creating that opposition. So going deep in the shadows is with the Scorpio. So going into Scorpio, right? And mind you, this is why I said it echoes and it really is highlighting and amplifying where we were when our North Node and South Node was in Taurus and Scorpio. Because that axis right now in Scorpio is Black Moon Lilith currently. And in Taurus is the sun and moon. Also Uranus, and Uranus is that radical change. Uranus is the one that is really bringing that change, right? Even though it's at the further degrees in the sign. So, and it was, and Uranus was always there, even when the North Node and South Node was there in Taurus and Scorpio. Uranus was also a key part. Uranus is still a key part that is really activating all this radical change in our lives, which is in the earth, which is what? Those two components in Taurus. Finances and relationships. This is where people have been feeling it the most, right? So it's echoing that back. This new moon being in Taurus, new moon and sun in Taurus, while Lilith is in Scorpio, is really performing a reenactment, if you will, of new moon it's reenacting North Node, South Node in Taurus and Scorpio. Why do I say that? Because the North Node, the South Node is usually asking us to look back in the past, look at what needs to change pretty much, and when we find what that is, we bring it to what is needed in that sign or in that house from the collective in order to bring us forward into the North Node, into how we can best serve ourselves, or what best serves us in the North Node. What can take us with ease into the North Node is when we make the corrections we need to make within the South Node. So it kind of kicks up what we need to look at, what we need to change, right? So now, understanding that the South Node and the North Node was operating in that way, what did we need to change? Go deep in Scorpio and see what we need to change in order to which is Scorpio's also water, the emotional body, going deep into the waters, going deep into the emotions, right? To bring forth where we need to go in the earth, the physical earth. So there's the physical and the emotional. Again, you're seeing that to go forward in the earth where we need to change our perspectives in the earth of how we value these two components of relationships and finances, right? So Again, this now is a reenactment. So now that I've explained the north node, south node, now let's bring it current and look at this axis again, Scorpio and Taurus. And we have Black Moon Lilith, which is having us to really uncover those shadows again in Scorpio, which means we do what? Go deep in the emotions, go deep into the waters, go deep into the emotions of Scorpio, with Black Moon Lilith, who is really highlighting these shadows. The shadow, Black Moon Lilith, is really showing us these shadow aspects, right? Just like the South Node in Scorpio was doing. So I'm paralleling that so that you see that. And then it is to rectify that when you go deep and now bring it forward. So after going deep within, again, remember we were guided to go within to come up. So after going deep within from that South Node in Scorpio at that time to now Black Moon Lilith in Scorpio at this time, both inviting us to go deep within, to come forward into what was then the North Node in Taurus is now new moon manifestation. The moon and the sun coming into harmony with our inner world and outer world. So bringing the harmony of what it is we are to now manifest in Taurus, right? So paralleling that North Node in Taurus to now where our new moon is in Taurus, still asking for manifestation of what? Perspectives that need to be changed. Radical change. Still amplifying. Uranus is still amplifying both of them that we're paralleling. Uranus is amplifying both the North Node and the South Node back then on this axis, and it's amplifying now the new moon and Black Moon Lilith on this same axis right now. So we're getting a second chance. We've been getting second chances. This second chance is really like a third, fourth, fifth chance if we were really paying attention to the celestials. But it's really echoing, it's paralleling what that was doing and giving us a chance right now. If you didn't do it then, if you didn't do it within those 18 months that the North Node and South Node was in Taurus and Scorpio, and you didn't do it last year around this time last year, there was some major things happening with the Mars-Uranus conjunction, and there was something happening around May as well. So if you didn't do it then now, with this reenactment of the North Node, of the axis with Taurus and Scorpio in this Grand Cross, it's really asking us to come into alignment with that, right? And remember, these are fixed signs that are asking for stability in its evolved aspect, right? If you're in the shadows with this fixed sign, if you have not evolved in some way, shape, or form, and you are in the shadows, then this can really feel like a head-on collision. This could feel like calamity, chaos. We're all going to feel it, but it's those who are more evolved are going to know how to navigate it. That's the difference. Those who are not as evolved and are still holding on to the shadows, it's going to feel like a head-on collision. It's going to hit you over, knock you over, and you're going to be wanting to aggressively combat with it, right? And especially with now looking at the other axis, what really helps this one out, this reenactment, is the other axis on this cross, which is Leo, Mars in Leo, Pluto in Aquarius. Because before, these were not the components, because Pluto wasn't in Aquarius at that time when that North Node and South Node was in Taurus and Scorpio. Pluto was still in Capricorn, right? So now it is in Aquarius, and it is exact. It is actually exact across from Leo. Around this time, they're both at 3 degrees, so they're in an exact opposition, right? So there really is like having this face-off, as I spoke about before. And this, it's bringing the revelations. So the Pluto part of it is really bringing forth those revelations. This is why a lot of us are feeling like it's now or never, back against the wall. I can't do this not one more day. The revelations are so vivid. It's so strong. It's so intense. It's so there. You can't pretend that you don't see it. And to do so is to throw your third eye out of alignment, and then you may be suffering headaches. these are some ascension symptoms and that you may be having, because you're not really allowing that Pluto in Aquarius to have its high frequency revelations that it is bringing, right? The death to rebirth transformations, okay? And so then you have on the opposite end Leo, which is action, ready to get into action and take initiative and take charge, and it's in a fire sign, so it's fired up, it's being fueled, it's ready to be fueled. So we have to take that initiative, but we need a responsible Mars. Again, if you are in your shadows, then your Mars is going to want to be aggressive rather than assertive. We need assertive responsibility. It means stop pussyfooting with yourself, stop playing with yourself, stop giving yourself excuses. There's no time for spiritual bypassing. Just saying love and light is not going to get you through, right? This is tough love, right? We got to be on our tough love guard with ourselves. I don't like to say guard because it invokes the meaning of protection, right? And we don't need to protect. The truth needs no protection. We just need to come correct. All right? This is what these energies are bringing us to. It's coming to true corrections with ourselves, right? So this Grand Cross in its evolved state holds the stability that we need to stay steadfast to the true essence of this transit through the soul's course during this major timeline shift in this time-space reality. So it is really calling for that stability, as I said, not stubbornness, right? So if you're in the shadows, you're going to be stubborn to what these frequencies are guiding us through. You're going to be stubborn to your own soul's course and your own journey, right? If you are more evolved in this aspect, if you are more attentive to your soul's journey, right, with loving kindness, you don't got to push yourself around. You don't got to just be gentle and kind with yourself and understand what's happening, right? If you do that, then this is bringing the stability. This Grand Cross can work for you. It can work for all of us, and it's bringing stability into our lives individually, and collectively it's bringing stability to the light grid, to those who are activating on the light grid to help shift into the 5D. It's bringing stability into the 5th dimension, into existing in the 5th dimension, right? So with that said, that's the skinny on the skinny. There's a lot more. There's so much I got, and I may have to break this down into another video, but I wanted to at least get the new moon outlook and information to us. Now on a higher level, to my chosen of the chosen of the chosen few and the 144 ascendants on these frequencies, this is for everyone, but those, you know, who are in the higher realms and the higher frequencies may really get this at the angles of light and the degrees of light that you are to get this with, right? So many are intercoursing through this celestial guidance transit that the trajectory of their soul's course calls for, as per their spirit selection that adheres to their starseed transmission in time. This is an intermission, meaning between. As I'm using this word inter, it's to be known as between. This is an intermission that is happening through the intercommunication or intercom on the light grid activation to instruct those ones of the transiting mission at hand. It is this very high vibrational pull that is activating the timeline split between the 3D shadows and the 5D evolution. And the split within the physical earth as well, I saw that wrong. And the split within the physical earth as well, period, right? Multidimensionally and in many ways across the board. So just to understand that this is not just happening in the ethers. Everything in spirit happens in spirit first before in the earth. So it's happening also, it wants us to know what's happening in the earth physically. So we're feeling it in the physical, emotional components. Remember, as I say emotional, right? This is the sacral chakra season. So that emotional component is in there. This is why a lot of you are seeing fives a lot. 555. That's another part of this. I'll do a further explanation of the fives because it is representing physical, spiritual balance, which does equal change. And that is what's happening right now, a lot of that. So, but it's to understand that this last part of the message is for us to understand how we are intercoursing, how we are coursing between timelines and with each other, right? Through this celestial guidance transit that the trajectory of our soul's course calls for, as per your spirit selection. Listen to that again if you can. If you may have to pull back and rewind it again, because I don't want to read the whole thing over, but it's imperative that we adhere to that, right? And know that this is happening multidimensionally in many ways. This is it, right? Exclamation mark. This is it. It's time. Make the shift in time. This is what this new moon is giving us the opportunity to assess